Next topic is trade. Three big deals, or dealettes, as Sean might say, were consummated, including the very big one with Japan. And the administration is trying to create the dynamic that we long had understood they would, which is make an early. The later you make your deal, the better, the worse the terms are. On first glance, the Japanese deal looks very good for the United States, and I'll say again, no American president has gotten a trade deal like with Japan, and the only reason it exists is because they had a strategy and they stuck to it. Here is Scott Bessent on Morning Joe talking about the tariff deadline, 114.
And I think what we'll see on August 1st, President Trump has said that anyone who doesn't have a deal by August 1st will go back to the April 2nd reciprocal trade date, but that doesn't mean, or trade tariff level, but that doesn't mean we can't keep negotiating. And as a matter of fact, that may apply a bit more pressure as the rate gets ratcheted up.
In addition, Bessent was very positive about a possible some sort of deal with additional deal with China, and very positive, although if you listen to him closely and parse it, not definitive on the prospects that tariffs will raise consumer prices. Here he is on that, 112.
So just to put a fine point on this, Mr. Secretary, it's your belief, you're confident that consumers will not see higher prices because of these tariffs?
I am confident that the overall inflation numbers are going to remain very benign. We saw the biggest decrease in inflation in the past 4 years 2 months ago, and I think that there's no reason to expect that we are going to see a substantial pickup in the price level.
We will see. Treasury Secretary Scott.
All right, Sean, I'm a pretty close student, a longtime student of the U.S.-Japanese trade relationship. This appears to be one of the most robust opening of the Japanese market any president's ever gotten. How good is the Japan deal, and what happens next with the EU?
Oh, okay. So let's just make sure we put this in in context. Ishiba lost his parliamentary majority 3 days ago. They had him in a very difficult position. He's trying to cobble together a coalition, and he needed to get something done. So I think that there's a uniqueness to this deal, put it that way, in terms of they had some internal dynamics going on in Japan in terms of Ishiba's desire to get a working majority. So look, I've said this before, it's 3 years as an assistant U.S. trade rep. India, China are outside of China, Japan and India are the two most squirrely trading partners we have. So understanding what we got matters, which is an outline. As a win for the U.S., I would say that the default tariff across the board is 10%. So for them to get this 15 is a win for the United States that Japan agreed to it, because I would have, if I were in a stronger position in Japan, I would have said, we want what the UK got, and we want what we were told was the deal. But if you look at Indonesia and the Philippines, they're at 19. So here's the deal. Why this helped? So again, being positive, I think they got a higher deal. They got some carve-outs for some U.S. auto issues and sectoral issues. That's a huge issue. It puts them on a path going forward. And the bigger point to your issue is, if I were Europe, if I were the EU trade commissioner, I'd be a little scared right now, which is, oh, crap, we thought we were negotiating to 10. They just got 15 and 19. They're not going to so EU, if I were the EU, I'd call up today and say, I got it. Let's put the fluffy pharma language and the auto supply chain language in and call it a day. And then we'll go back to Brussels and take August off. That would be the smart move on the EU's part.
Dan, I don't think they'll call today or tomorrow, because tomorrow they're going to Beijing for their one-day meeting, which is now being cast as a very confrontation, not a celebration of the relationship, but a tough, hard-nosed discussion with Xi and others. What's your view of the Japan deal, and what's your view of where the EU is now?
Well, I think the Japan deal, I keep saying this, we have to see the details.
If it works out like this.
But I mean, every single deal, there's the headline, and then there becomes the reality.
We share that caution, but if the outlines of this get codified and these are the actual terms, what would you think of the deal?
Well, according to these terms, Japan got nothing. So if that's true, amen. But I have a hard time
they get access to the USA market. That's what they got. That's our leverage.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. To be determined if a lot of what Trump is saying is true, and Japan this morning didn't dispel any of it, so that's good news for us, then it's a huge win for the United States, and Donald Trump will deserve credit. Full stop. I don't know what it means for the Europeans. I really don't, because we hear they're close, then we hear they're not. We hear they're close, we hear they're ready in countermeasures. Germany saying, like, we're getting ready for a long, drawn-out trade war. I don't know what the reality is, but if Japan is true and he can get something similar with Europe, it's great for America.
I will say this, knowing the political position that Ishiba is in right now, I think that he was like, I'll sign anything. That's a very, we got to win, because, I mean, look, regardless, who cares? A win's a win.
Right, exactly.
Timing is
everything.
But timing is everything, and this was huge. The only issue that the caveat is, if he doesn't pull off a winning coalition in the parliament, does a potential new PM come in and say, because this was all Ishiba campaigned on, was basically like, I'm the guy who can cut a deal. So if he can't maintain a coalition and a new PM comes in, does the new PM undercut the deal? That's the sort of little.
Well, and what's the Japanese domestic reaction? Because, as you know, Sean, every time trade deals get published, you have your domestic reaction, and countries kind of like, ours and everyone else starts kind of trying to make a few changes, and you're trying to just grease it to get it through. So we just have to see.
Yeah. Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss a clip, and you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.